Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about adding Masteron to a TRT or a TRT Plus or an HRT or a sports TRT, however you want to call it, whatever semantics you want to use for it. Some people are just doing, say, 150 tests for a TRT, and then you want a little extra add-on. Masteron, I think, would be the go-to I would recommend for a number of reasons, which I will address in this video. But I'm going to start by saying that Masteron hasn't been specifically studied too well on men specifically, or just in general, because it's been illegal for a number of years. It's in most countries. I think in some European countries or some places in the world it still is legal, but I don't think it's being extensively studied, especially for the purpose of what I'm saying for, okay? Like its major purpose back in the day was to reduce estrogen for when there's like breast cancer proliferation happening. It would reduce the fuel that added to the cancer fire, essentially. So there's no growth that happened. Not as much growth would happen, okay? And just like it reduced that it also reduces gynecomastia in men. It reduces the chance of it, okay? Which is a common side effect of taking higher amounts of testosterone. Now, that being said, I just wanted to get that out of the way initially in this video. That being said, it's being used extensively in the bodybuilding community. So there's anecdotal and there's a lot of evidence, which I would consider scientific, because of the repeatability and just like it's not just bro science. It's being used and then people measure their blood work and things. So I considered it well studied. It has a history in bodybuilding, and I believe it is kind of at the forefront of what secondary compound to use on testosterone. There might be some other options. Another popular one is Primobolan, or another option is EQ, although I don't think EQ is as ideal for a number of reasons, but that's not what I'm making this video about. I'm making it about Masteron, and I'm going to again get into the reasons why. Okay, so first of all, there's two types of Masteron. There's the enanthate and then there's the propionate. I recommend the shorter ester, and then injecting it every other day. And that's, you really feel, I haven't taken enanthate, so I don't know, but I just know that personally that you get the big wave of it, which is ideal, which has an effect on your physiology and psychology and emotions. So that's a good segue, I guess, into the benefits of it. You feel better. It gives, I think, the best way I can describe it, on top of the testosterone, is a little bit of an edge, a little bit of a sharpness that you don't really get from Primobolan. Primobolan, I don't think you really get an emotional effect as much. Maybe there's a little bit of well-being there, but with Masteron, you just feel more masculine. It's a masculinization drug, which is great. And because it's a DHT-derived steroid, that causes the androgenic effects are masculinization. And with that comes, I think, better performance in the gym. There is an anabolic effect, even though it's not as great as like testosterone or nandrolone or trenbolone. It's still there. So there's a cumulative anabolic effect with the testosterone you're taking. So that's a perfect add-on as a secondary compound to like TRT or HRT, sports TRT. And so that's great. Second is a major mood and motivation boost. And steroids in general will do this, although some steroids will make you more agitated, especially in higher doses. This one, I think, has a potential to, if you were to really be pushing it. Although I've never experienced it that bad. So at the doses I'm doing, like up to 300. So 300 milligrams a week, that is. So it has motivation. It has a boost on sex drive. 100%. When I take it, there's a big wave of energy I feel the next day. like the subsequent day or two after, and it's just like I'm on fire, like sexually, almost too much sometimes. And I attribute it to the Masteron. Well, I attribute it to everything, but that one particular. I don't want to get into science, pharmacology of why it does that, but I've seen evidence, reasons why I believe that it there's something involved in like the sexual neurochemistry of the body that it affects, it amplifies. And it also, what it does do is affect the central nervous system, which again is part of that. It's part of the neurochemical and hormonal balance of the body that in CNS, when activated, is better for gym performance. Just overall well-being is better. That's all I can say. I'll just lay it simply. You just overall well-being. You feel better. You feel more like a man. You feel more motivated. You have more drive. You have more sex drive. Okay, so perfect compound. And with all of that, it has like minimal side effects. If not, like if you're taking a small enough dose, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that at a small dose of like 100, if you just add 100 to your 150 TRT, that you could run that indefinitely, I would say. As long as you're getting the blood work done, you make sure your LDL, HDL levels are fine, things like that. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that, and I don't have evidence for this, but I'll make the claim. I don't give a shit. You can, if you disagree with me, leave in the comments section below, and I'm all for criticism and give me evidence that suggests that this is not the case. But I think you can run that indefinitely and without any negative side effects that are debilitating. But there are potential side effects when you're taking something that's a DHT, which is hair loss, and some people would be afraid of that. But if you're afraid of hair loss, you probably shouldn't be doing steroids to begin with. Or at a TRT dose, the chance of hair loss might be minimal. But like for me, I'm now into my 40s. I realize that I just accept the fact that that is a likelihood and that could happen in the next 5-10 years. I'm not afraid of it. If it happens, it's shave my head, or just live with it. If you already have a girlfriend and things, it's not like you're out there trying to impress girls anymore. Or you can get a hair transplant. So there's fly to Turkey, get a hair transplant. A lot of people are doing that these days. So I just gotta get that out of the way. That it's like the negative side effect potential is very low, but it also has a high effectiveness on top of testosterone. Never just take it alone. Never take the DHT, a steroid, out just by itself. You need the test base. So if you're running something a little higher than TRT, I would start matching the amount of Masteron with the amount of testosterone you're taking. Like if you're at anything surpassing 250 testosterone, I would match with the equivalent amount of Masteron a week in milligrams. If you're under 250, you can just add maybe 100 Masteron, because the reason being the logic that, again, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it, but this is kind of my understanding, so just hear me out, and if you do disagree with me, that's fine, is that if you matched it at lower doses, you might crush the estrogen. Okay? So, yeah, you might crush your estrogen, so that's something where blood work you might want to take periodically to make sure that your estrogen levels are fine. So it's a perfect stack. I would call it a secondary compound to use. The primary one is always the testosterone, Masteron being secondary, and I would say that would be more ideal than doing Primobolan. It has great drying effect, muscle hardening effect. Your water weight will be reduced, especially when you are taking testosterone. It has the potential to bloat you a little bit, put on a little bit of water retention. So, Masteron will help mitigate that. I don't think, again, I'll stress this enough, I have not seen evidence that of toxicity with it in the doses that I'm talking about. I think you'd be totally fine running that alongside testosterone, again, indefinitely. But if you want to be totally safe, 100% safe, well, not 100%, but more safe on it, then just run it for 3 months at a time. So then you can run it and then cool off, let your body, get back to normal, and then go back and do it every few months. And that will be that would be what I would recommend if you really want to run it safe. But I'm running it indefinitely right now. But when I blast, I do it higher, obviously. And when I come down to a TRT dose, I'm only running like 100 a week milligrams on 150 testosterone, and then a little bit of nandrolone, like very little, 50 to 100. Some people might be like, well, what's the point of even running all like 3 compounds on you just stick with testosterone. Yeah, but there's a cumulative effect and a synergistic effect between these different compounds. That's what makes it ideal to run, not just test-only cycles. You can test-only cycle. Once you start pushing past 200, you're going to run into potential, like the bloating, the negative high estrogen, negative side effects associated with that. So all you need is testosterone, is just that base to have that estrogenic level in the body, the conversion of it. It also converts to DHT. Then you add a DHT compound on that just works alongside it like a yin-yang, like it makes it holistic. That makes sense. So it's like a more full spectrum instead of just one-dimensional. And then you can even add the third compound, like a nandrolone or an anavar on top of that, just for a little extra boost. You don't need much, just for a little bit fullness more. And if you do that, that would be as far as steroids go, safe and effective. I'm just going to put it out there. Hear me out. If you totally disagree with me, please, I invite that. Leave in the comments section below. But a Masteron on top of a TRT cycle, that's what I would recommend to go to. I think for most guys who are 40 plus, they're not looking to necessarily blow the fuck up. They're just not necessarily. Some might. So if they're looking to be more like chiseled, more refined, I think that would be, you definitely look better, and you'd feel more masculine. You feel like you're like 20 years old again. Feel like you could fuck 3 times a day on that shit. Seriously. Easily. Like, not without getting tired. That's what I've experienced. A more high level of libido. So I guess that's what I'm going to say in this video. I don't know what else to say about it, other than again, just to reiterate what I said before, it's got a history already, and it is kind of like the leading edge, and I believe the future. This is what, as more and more people do steroids over time, I think more and more people are going to be running the test Masteron cycle more. It's going to be more the future, more popular cycle, because of the safety factor and effectiveness factor. It works. So I'll leave it there. What are your thoughts? Leave in the comments section below. Like always, peace.